Hey everybody, welcome to another segment of Tony's show, and today we are in chaos. You ever notice that? Seems like, you remember when we were kids, we'd get up in the morning, you had a whole day to look forward to, a day of adventure, a day of discovery, a day of, intrigue. And as you went outside and you played with your friends and didn't really think about much of life, just caught up in the time of play. And life was a lot easier, wasn't it? I mean, all you had to do was, go get up, go eat breakfast, go out with your friends, go to school, come home, play baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer, whatever. And life seemed positive. Life seemed like there was something more, something to live for. That new intrigue, that new challenge, that new interest, that new discovery. And today, somehow, the elite, the cabal, the regulators of this planet have turned the planet into the most chaotic. I'm trying to think of another set of words to use because the ones I know are very salt to the earth. So, and they're not really proper to say either. They're not the Queen's English. Let's put it this way. But they have caused such mayhem and destruction, and they've caused such debilitation to this planet and to the people of this planet. And they've caused so much distortion of reality on the planet that everybody's at their wits' end trying to find an answer, a solution. Because they're hitting everybody from so many different angles. And tonight I'm going to talk about the different angles, all the different angles, and why you may be a little confused. Now I'm going to also tell you this. Whatever you endeavor to get into, doesn't matter what your research you're going to get into. I don't care if you get into nano, I don't care if you get into genetics, I don't care if you get into frequencies, I don't care if you get into towers, telecommunications, they get into vaccines, whether you get into politics, whatever it may be. All these things are connected. They're just coming from a different angle. It's like a piece of pie. You got your favorite, cherry pie made with non-genetically engineered flour and has butter and then you add whipped cream on top, and then when you go to slice it, you start slicing the pie into like 8 or 9 pieces, 10 pieces. That's what it is. It's like we are in that pie and everything's been sliced each slice presents a different host of problems. So I've been talking about nano and nanogenetics and nanomolecules and AI networks and frequencies. And this is what I talk about because my research has led me down this path. My exposure to nano has led me down this path. But there are a lot of other paths or pieces of the pie that the cabal, those who worship Baal, have created on the earth for all men and women to fear and to be apprehensive and to be in a state of chaos. So when we're looking at all this chaotic activity, I got on there how now they can control your genetic code with an electrical shock or electrical signal pattern, by putting certain chips inside you, which they can now build because of the nanotechnology. They can now use frequencies and we've been saying this for a long time, that these implants, these particles, these nano can be made to follow orders. So you got a whole slew of information on that tonight as well, which I also go into. And there's also the other aspect of, we have the media broadcasting things and putting on a sideshow to give us this illusion of a situation that have happened. They triggered an event. Okay, they triggered an event. Whether you believe or not the Floyd thing was a setup or was real, either way it goes. Either way it goes. This was set up to trigger the events that are going on all over North America. And they wanted, see, the way I understand it, the way I perceive it, Mr. Trump was going to win the election hands down. The Democrats don't have a hope in hell winning this next election. Zero. Nada. So now they're creating all this distortion under his watch. You got the state of Michigan, the Democratic governor there, doesn't want to open up Michigan because she wants to make Mr. Trump look weak and inferior, or like a buffoon. And all she's really doing is hurting the people within the state of Michigan. Now, whatever your stand is on this pandemic, if you believe it or don't believe it, it's real or it's fake or it's something's going on, whatever it is your stand is. The reality of it all is this: there was no reason at all, on any level, that there should have been a lockdown. We should have had herd immunity. Everyone should have went out there. Because the statistics are coming out more and more, and the research is coming out more and more. Less than 1%, not even 1%. Doctor in California, Dr. Erickson, you have a 0.325% of dying from this thing. So why did the governors lock down the states? So you have to look at all the things. Now, whether you like Mr. Trump or you don't like Mr. Trump, that's not really the point I'm trying to get here. And I'm not saying I'm a pro-Trump or an anti-Trump. I could care less. I see the whole I see politics like I see religion. I don't pay any mind because neither one of them have any sense of reality to them. But unfortunately, a lot of people do believe in these things as having some sort of realism to them. And they are good performers, I will say that. But because there is, my son tells me, he says, Dad, he says, all I see with America is it's old money fighting new money. That might be the case. It may be the case. The old regime doesn't want to let go. But irregardless, there was no reason for a lockdown in America or Canada for that matter. Our Prime Minister, I don't know why he listened to somebody from the WHO. An incompetent person at best, and I doubt very seriously he even has any real certification in medicine. That's how I perceive it anyway. So, and the flu, if you look up the statistics on the flu, it kills more, it has killed more than this thing could ever kill. I think, what was it, 7,000 people in Canada has maybe possibly died from this out of 33 million, or if you want to take this to the other stat of 37 million. That's not that's not an epidemic. So why is this all going on? Why is this all going on? And now everybody in Canada, everybody I talk to is all basically everyone's saying this is bullshit, all bullshit. They're waking up to the fact that it's bullshit. There's still some diehard dummies out there walking around with a mask, believing the mask is going to protect them. And again, we know the mask is emitting, formaldehyde and emitting hydrogen cyanide and emitting slimicides and all kinds of wonderful chemicals. I mean, it's like I said, the cabal created this fear of a boogeyman that doesn't really exist to get people to put on a component that would poison them far faster than the pandemic is doing, and would simulate that there'd be an outbreak because more people now would start dying or start having respiratory issues that has nothing to do with the corona boogeyman. No. So we got this. This is another piece of the pie, another piece of the cut, another piece of confusion here, another piece of chaos. Now you got United States in an uproar, and they got outbreaks everywhere. We got marches going on in Canada, and now this is what happened in Canada. Alberta, the province of Alberta, the totalitarian province of Canada, has now passed another set of laws. Imagine that. No parliament, no nothing, just writing laws down on paper and passing laws. And this particular law is called Bill 1. Bill 1. Bill 1 does not allow for anybody to protest in Alberta. Did you know that? And you can't block any major road or highway or street. In fact, you can't even touch any of the property around if you happen to be in the area. It's amazing when you read this document that Alberta came up with. And you know what's happening with this? Again, this is another piece of the pie. Another piece of the pie. And while this bullshit is going on, some Albertans are aware of it. Canadians need to get aware of this. Our Prime Minister isn't going to do nothing, so don't expect the federal government to step in here to put a stop to this insane stupidity in regarding to just writing laws down and passing them without any due process. That ain't going to happen. Canadians, we need to really pay attention to this, because what Alberta's been starting, the rest of provinces have been adopting under different bill numbers that they have. We're either not going to have a Canada, or we're going to have a Canada so locked down we won't be able to fart without paying some kind of fine and going to jail. That's how ridiculous this is becoming. You know, and if you don't have the money to get out and you're poor, you're going to be stuck here. And the federal government is trying to take away your means of defense. Interesting. See, if the government takes away guns, people are just going to learn how to make explosives. And that'll be worse, actually, because now the government won't know what to expect, won't know where that'll happen or who will have them. You know, you can pass whatever legislation you want there. That's one legislation that cannot be enforced. Can't be enforced. You can mine your whole front backyard, you can mine your porch, whatever. Anybody comes to your house that doesn't belong, kaboom, kabang, see ya. Won't know what hit him or her. Like I said, these are things that are creating these pieces of the pie are creating newer problems, more problems that they cannot foresee, and problems that maybe they can foresee but they still can't stop. Remember that police officer everyone was saying was a fraud? He was a fraud, blah blah blah. He comes out and tells everybody that the police force, if they start, or initiate the continual barraging of people's rights, they would eventually have a catalyst they won't be able to stop because they're not prepared for it. Now maybe he was the guy giving the symbol or the sign to initiate, engage whatever that needed to be engaged to stimulate what's going on in America. I do not know, or whether or not he was actually giving a real warning. That I do not know either. But you can only keep people closed down for so long, and then shit hits the fan. Something, somewhere, some way, it's going to break. And if you got a family member that has gone off and committed suicide, again, you have my sympathy there. But that is going to leave a mark emotionally on these people. Again, you won't know who. You won't know who's going to lose it at what time and what they're going to do. You won't know. You will not know. And again, another piece of the pie. And then all these people that died for nothing in hospitals because the doctors had given lethal injections or over-medicated these elderly people. Another piece of the pie. Now, the one common denominator that's going on here are people. People getting screwed. People getting compromised. People being made dysfunctional. People being made to die. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking today, because I'm seeing some other couple programs, and I've been telling you all, start prepping by stockpiling food. Don't go buying these MREs and all these other, buy these foods that are already prepackaged, unless these foods do not have soy in them, silica aluminate. I was looking at eggs. I couldn't believe the egg powder had silica aluminate in it. What in the bloody hell? Seriously? Silica aluminum? See, the thing is this. You buy a survival food, and you stockpile that food for a rainy day or when an event should come, and you go eat that food, and all of a sudden you got a brain cancer, or you got a thyroid cancer, or thyroid damage, or you got, liver damage, you got pancreatic damage, you got intestine from eating this shit. Who's going to help you at that time to recover? And how are you going to recover if all your food are MRIs loaded with these materials? Because as long as you keep eating that material, or putting that material inside your body, it's going to continue to compromise you until it kills you. Again, this is another one of those, jumping from the frying pan into the fire. You know what I mean? You got to think. They put to scare the boogeyman. The boogeyman. Oh, the boogeyman. It's corona. It's racism. It's poverty. It's political unrest. Oh, the boogeyman. And then they lead you into a direction. Oh, the coronavirus, you gotta wear a mask, or you gotta wear a mask, or you gotta protect each other. Oh, you gotta help each other, you gotta protect each other. Oh, put the mask on, put the mask on. Next thing you know, you got a whole neighborhood dropping dead from cyanide poisoning or from aldehyde poisoning from wearing the mask. See what I'm saying? Another piece of the pie. And you put the stuff on, you do this, you run this, and the problem is they get everybody into this frantic panic, and now you're no longer thinking. How many of you actually read the ingredients on the box when it got to those masks? How many of you actually read the ingredients of the gloves that you're putting on, those little rubbers, I call those little hand condoms? Oh, look, I can now have safe sex with my hand. Oh, I got my condom on. Ooh, I'm excited. How many of you actually read the label? How many of you are allergic to latex when you're putting these gloves on? Did you read these things? See, you absorb poison through the skin just like you would if you drank it or ate it. You can absorb poisons through many different parts of your body. Skin being one of them, mouth being another one, your backside being another one. How many actually read the ingredients? Then we get into the whole vaccine thing. Oh, we're going to have a vaccine in a year and a half. Oh, yeah, year and a half, we're going to have a vaccine. 20% casualty rate with the first test. 20% casualty rate. Another piece of the pie. Another piece of the pie. So now you're wondering, where is this going? And then, before you even get to the other main event, got you watching television. Okay, they got you with the blue beams. You're not wearing your yellow lenses. You're watching the television. You're seeing the news report. And the news is saying, oh, the world's coming to an end. The world's coming to an end. It's going to hell in a handbasket. There's no hope. There's this and that. Oh, we got a war going on here. We got this going on there. Oh, geez, we got civil unrest in America. We got, all this bullshit. Now you're running to and fro, and you don't know what you're doing or where you're going. And you're just run, and then you react. Need to be quarantined, and somebody steps outside, and neighbors, hey, how come you're not inside? Blah blah blah. Like, seriously, when neighbors do stuff like that, it really, really gives me this irksome desire to play baseball, and I'll leave it at that. Hitting home runs when I can. It amazes me that people will, at the drop of a hat, show where their loyalty lies. Where their loyalty lies. I can see, in all honesty, violence is going to occur in neighborhoods once they find out who these snitchers are. I can see violence or activities happening to these people, and people are going to add, and who knows, they might even make the media, the news, oh, so-and-so was such a good person. How could such an atrocity happen to this person? Bullshit like that. So I can see stuff like that happening, even in Canada, believe it or not. Some people will lose it. With the frantic stress that everybody's going through, people are not thinking clearly. And so somebody decides to open their mouth and that person goes to jail. When that person comes out, they're going to think about you a lot while they're behind bars. And they're going to come up with some ideas that are going to even amaze you when they put them in place. And people have this idea that if you call the police is coming right away. I got news for you. Police are not going to be coming right away because they have to go and answer other calls from other people who have snitched on their neighbors. I talked to a police officer. That's what he tells me goes on here. Imagine that. You'll be calling for help, and meanwhile, none will show up. You will now be at the mercy of the person you snitched on. And some of you may think I shouldn't talk like that, but you know what? That is the ghetto. That's how it was in the ghetto. Once somebody found out you were betraying the neighborhood, oh lordy, lordy. You were. If you didn't know Jesus, you found him real quick. I gotta tell you. That's the way it was, and you know what? It will go right back to that again. It will go right back to that again. In fact, they might find that the person who tried to make the cell phone call, you might find the phone up in their orifice somewhere, sideways. That kind of stuff does happen too. I'm saying this because these are the realities of the pie. Okay, getting people to go against other people. That's part of the pie. House divided against itself cannot stand, causing confusion, frantic panic. Hitting people with this vaccine, no vaccine, putting stress on that. Putting a mask on is leaching out poisonous gases that can cause brain damage and respiratory damage and thyroid damage and thymus damage and heart failure, organ failure. You're engineering food to have all kinds of things to alter the DNA and shutting down immune systems. Dealing with nano compositions that can assemble in your body and network and take over your systems. Frequencies and towers of all ranges from 5 to 7, 6 to 7 to 9 and higher frequency bands. What would be the common theme here? What would be the one major common theme? Think about that for 1 second. What would be the major common theme? People getting wiped out, right? Let's wipe out this neighborhood. Oh, we got too many colored people here. Let's wipe them out. Oh, we got too many light-skinned colored people over there. Let's wipe them out. Oh, we got these in-between colored people over here. Let's wipe them out. Some people don't like me using the term colored people, but see, I've never seen anybody who's black or white. I've never seen anybody that's yellow either, or red. I have seen some brown people. I gotta say, I have seen some brown people. But yeah, there's all people of color. So I use that terminology because this way I am not a white man. I've been told I'm a white man, but I'm not a color. I'm a man, yes, but I'm not a color. I'm a man. I don't see in the Bible it says God made a white man after his image, or God made a black man after his image, or God made a yellow man after his image, or God made a red man after his image, or God made a brown man after his image. I don't see that. God made man after his own image and after his own likeness. That's what I see. So anyway, that's my point. And we got to get past that frantic panic bullshit. So, people are the problem. This is what the cabal is looking at. We have people, and we got a lot of them, and so now we can affect them from many different assaults. This is an assault on mankind. Now, somebody sent me this a YouTube, and I went to another YouTube after I saw the one she sent me about food. Food. Who's been telling you to stockpile food? Especially try to get as much as you can by the fall. Who's been telling you that? I wonder. They were talking back, I think 2015, that there would be a food shortage or a major food issue by the year 2050. This is what they were telling us. Giving us this false sense of time. So I got to really pay attention to what I say this too. Don't believe the media at all. They told us 2050, so they'd give us this sense of time, that we have time. Oh, we got a lot of time. So we're going to enjoy ourselves now. And so now we're all relaxed, especially some of us who are older. You know, we're a little bit relaxed. I'm not retired yet, so I can't relax. My idea of relaxing would be on a hammock on a beach, white sand, blue water, you know, clear skies, no chemtrails, no nano, no frequencies, no frickin' technology, just sunshine, beach, water, brandy, and a hammock. That would be heaven on this planet. But anyway, that's my dream. That's just my dream. Anyway, they have created all these assaults. Now we're worried about food. So as we get older, we get into that dream that I just had. You know, that dream of retirement and sitting back. And so now we're relaxed and we're sitting on our laurels. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the Canadian government, the American government, or people in power in government, have told the farmers to dump their milk, kill their livestock, wipe out their chickens, wipe out their eggs, wipe out their ducks, wipe out their sheep, wipe out their food supply. They're creating a food shortage. And they're talking about populations that are going to be consuming the most food are going to be China, India, and Africa. And Africa is going to surpass the population of India, because right now the population of India has superseded the population of China. So there's over 3+ billion people in those 3 regions of the world. And they were getting into the whole thing about food shortage and food supply. India right now is self-sustaining, but will not be able to sustain the food supply in 10 years. 2030 was the timeline, not 2050. Some of you are going to be freaking out. You should. It'll wake you up. You should. Those of you who are awake and it's freaking you out, well, you already knew shit was bad. Now it's going to give you a little bit more fire to get prepared. 2030, 10 years. I said by 2025 they'll have all this locked down. And if they are going to have a vaccine, which I doubt they will, but they may have something else. If they can't get the vaccine, they'll have something else where they will tag you with a chip. Maybe they'll even come out and say, "Well, the chip will protect you. We'll put the chip in you." Anyway, they'll have some sort of integration with man and machine by that time. So therefore, if they need to cull the herd, in other words, instead of having a war, because see, what will settle this is a war, a big major war. But no one's going to attack China, nobody's going to attack India. They both are armed and can defend themselves. They have sophisticated weaponry. So the only other country that's right now viable and vulnerable is Africa. Where has Bill Gates been going with his vaccination program? Where has the United States, Russia, and France been for how long? Maybe the British? What have they been doing there? What about South America? What about South America? How many people do you hear dying of poisons and other things? People losing their farms. Indigenous people is being wiped out. See, they're looking at somehow at the expense of other cultures to survive the shortage that's coming. Now, I'm going to give you some suggestions here to help you get through this, and I don't know how long it will last, but you got to start thinking, and you got to be thinking on your feet when this comes. Okay, it may not be 10 years, maybe it might be 15, but either way, the more time you spend in preparing, remember the Bible says it'll be like the days of Noah, and I've been saying for a long time, get your ass in gear and start building your ark. Because it's going to be, if that rapture doesn't show up, and again, I'm not a big fan of that one, that doctrine. And whether or not if it happens, I'll be the first to say I was wrong. Thank God. But right now there's this discrepancy on both ends. And you can take your side on both ends, but if you're wrong on either way, well, if you're wrong on the one way, you're free and clear. If you're not wrong, but if you're wrong on the other way, guess what? Your knickers are down. So get your asses ready. Now, some of the foods you want to start looking at are fermented foods that can be stored for a long time, like cheese. You can make a shitload of cheese and it can last you for decades. Might have a little mold on it, but just cut that off and you eat it. That's one food that you might want to think about. As far as vegetables and things, well, if you have an aquaponic, hydroponic, or some sort of indoor gardening system, you can, again, keep replenishing your vegetation food supply that way. And you can keep cycling that, and maybe trade seeds with other people who are awake. All these things must be done indoors in some form or fashion, because you won't be able to do it outside, because if you do it outside, again, you subject yourself to nano-poisoning and nano-programming. So everything has to be done smartly. Now the other thing you're going to have to look at is water. Well, if you have a dehumidifier, you can pull a gallon of water a day from the air. Now, I remember years ago, they used to have these distillers that could actually extract water from the air. All you'd have to do then is filter it. Now, I'm not sure if those things still exist. But these are something that you might want to consider. Or if you can create a condensation room where the outside can get hot and the inside can be chilled. So when the heat hits the inside, it produces condensation and water. And you collect it that way. These are things you might want to look at, because water will be the most barterable thing on the planet. Next to tobacco, alcohol, and chocolate, water will rule. Okay, water will rule. We got Nestle stealing water out of the Great Lakes right now. And they got the legislation in Michigan, and I think in Ontario both, to pass some sort of regulation saying that, or mandate, or some ordinance saying that the water doesn't belong to the state or the province. So they have free and clear access to go in there and steal the water and then sell it to China or send it to China, and then they bottle it and send it back here. Imagine that. See, the biggest problem we have right now is the corporations. Those are the biggest problems we have. And bad governance in the governorship. Prime ministers, presidents, parliamentarians, congressmen, House of Representatives. We got too many people in positions in the government that the only thing they're really interested in is their wallet. That's it. And when you got a governor of a state, and I'm picking on Michigan because it's right beside me here, that's refusing to allow the people to get ready. And see, and these are what do you call them? The word just slipped my head. These are tactics, stalling tactics. That's what's going on. These are all stalling tactics. And getting distracted with this and distracted with that. This is to keep stalling everybody. Stalling tactics. Get your ass ready. What's coming down the pipe is going to make World War II like a Boy Scout outing. My mom and other people I've been around who survived that ordeal, it wasn't fun. They were able to manage, but they were of a different mindset because they didn't have television, they didn't have computers, they didn't have the things to propagate and program them into the New World Order. They were able to survive and thrive during those tough times. Where my mom was from, they were bombed every day by the Germans. The Germans and the Italians both bombed Malta. And when the supply ship came from the United Kingdom, they sunk it in the harbor. This went on day in and day out. When they heard the sirens, they had to go into the catacombs. They were like a rock, hollow rock carved out, and that's where they stayed and survived. But they knew, and they worked together and figured things out. So, and they had things that they could work with, and they learned how to work with what they had. But they weren't programmed. So when I hear about other people saying that they were so hard done by, I kind of have to chuckle at that. Like, you were the only one? My mom survived it. A lot of Europeans suffered immensely during that time. It wasn't one group of people that were crying all the time about, oh, woe is us. All of Europe got pissed on hard, with what was going on. It wasn't a fun time, and a lot of people did die. Christians, a lot of them died. And like I said, I'm of the mindset there was 6 million Christians that died, not the other. But that's my thinking, and based on what I'm reading and seeing. And I'm not saying that any group had more or less die. Everybody got killed in that war. Didn't matter what your religion, your culture, or your ethnicity was. They didn't care. Anyway, so I'm not going to belabor that point. And don't try to argue with me on that one, because if you do and you're going to try to tell me some horse hockey that you've been brainwashed to believe, then you know what? Keep it. I have a different perspective based on people that were there. When you're looking at a lot of things that are going on now, you have to be prepared. You have to start thinking in preparation, and you have to start thinking, we got 10 years. All this bullshit with pandemics, these are stalling tactics. And people who get caught up in this are going to be the first ones that are going to get wiped out, because they won't have anything ready. This will almost be like the very thing that the Bible says about the 5 wise and 5 foolish virgins. The 5 wise got prepared, and when the hard times hit, they were ready for it. When the 5 foolish who didn't prepare thought they were just going to get through it. When the shit hit the fan, guess what? They were compromised. They asked the ones that were prepared if they could help. They said, no, we don't have enough for us. You'll have to go to the next town and get what you need. By the time they did that and got back on track, it was too late. So don't be in that position. Okay. Other things you want to get are whey protein powders that don't have sucralose, that don't have aspartame, that might be sweetened with even sugar. If they're sweetened with sugar, they'd be safer than any other sweetener that's out there. And that may sound bizarre, but it's true. You won't suffer any ill effects, cancers and other things. You can, obviously, if you take too much, but that will be the safest sweetener. But if you can get one that's plain, if it's sweetened with either xylitol or stevia, that's fine. And it's got sunflower lecithin, and the only flavor should be in there would be vanilla, because a lot of chocolates are all compromised with all kinds of crap in them. So whey-based protein powders will be an adequate source of protein, will last you at least a decade, if not more, provided they're sealed and no moisture gets to them. Then you should be fine. Same with egg powder, egg proteins, egg lecithin or egg yolk, dried egg yolk, dried potato, dried vegetables, provided that the vegetables are grown in the greenhouse or they're grown underground. Minimize your exposure to the processed foods. Even if you buy canned potatoes with the calcium chloride, which actually will give you your calcium, carrots, beets, these are all grown underground. Onion, garlic, ginger, turmeric, galangal, radishes, they're pickled in a can, whatever. Somebody said, what about the metal in the can? Metal in the can can be pulled out of the body very easily. We're just using a simple sulfur component. All you need. Now, when you're looking at other foods, you might want to look at, for instance, tea, coffee. Try to get them as clean as you can. hot cocoa if it's clean, or chocolate powder, cacao powder. Okay, you're going to need something that's going to help you with your mood, and cocoa's got the PEA that can help with that. It also has things in it, believe it has a catechin in it that can help in the regeneration of the body as well. So it has follistatin supporting mechanisms, just like green tea. Green tea is another thing you might want to stick around. Try to see if you can even grow these things. Wouldn't hurt to try, right? Experiment. Herbs, that you can use. Things you might want to look at stockpiling as well. Ascorbic acid, pure bulk. You go to pure bulk and you're starting to buy amino acids and you're starting to buy vitamins and powders. Start stockpiling that as well. You don't know when they're going to one day shut that down. They may be around for a while. They may be gone tomorrow. But either way, start stockpiling. And there's another one called Peak Nutrition. Compare the prices of the two. I'm not trying to pit one against the other, but whatever you can access, start stockpiling. If you've got health issues now, okay, and you might want to start looking at supplements that you may want to need or keep around and utilize, and then you may want to grow herbs or plants or have them in some extract formulation to help you with your health. These are things you got to start looking at here. Okay, you really got to start looking at because of the deceit and the lies and the distractions that we have been dealing with. The bullshit is so thick you can cut it with a knife. And you have to start thinking in these terms. We all got to get our heads geared to a point of not believing anything the government or the media tell us. In fact, I would tell you to take the TV and throw it out the frickin' door. Put it on the curb. It is the weapon of mass destruction. A nuke, it doesn't destroy what a TV does. A nuke doesn't destroy what radio does. These are, it's like the Bible says that there is no discharge for more. And the more I look at this shit, the more I see that we have been warred on and been warring against us ever since our inception. Everything around us was designed to take us out, to assault us, and to kill us in whatever form or fashion. We shouldn't be dying the way we are. We should be alive. We should be vital. We should be beaming and booming with light and life and love and all these things, Instead, we're in this state of frantic panic, anxiety, stress. And we heard all these terms over the decades, and you know what? They have never, ever came out with anything. The reason why we're all stressed out is because we watch television. And we get programmed with the programming of TV. As a result, we start thinking in ways we don't normally think, and we start believing the nonsense and the bullshit television tells us. It's the way it works. I remember reading years ago, about a decade or so ago, there was a part in Asia, I forget where it was, where they just got the television. This high-rise apartment, had gotten a television, and so they turned it on, and as soon as they turned it on, they saw all kinds of stuff on there that was just destructive to the family. The father, the man in the house, took that TV and threw it out the window. 10 or 12 stories up, he threw it out. Needless to say, there was a big kaboom when it hit the ground. And then the whole complex did the same thing. They took one look at the television and said, yeah, right. Out the door it went. We need to have some of that common sense again. And I think the other thing too about not watching television is when you don't watch it, you don't dwell on it, you don't spend time with it. I mean, we all watch some crap sometimes, but I mean, generally speaking, not watching it where you get so, every day you got to be home at a certain time and watch a certain program because you can't miss the next segment. Your brain starts to come back online. You know that? You start thinking about things. You start wanting to build things. You start wanting to develop things again. And your brain becomes re-engaged in life. Quit listening to the radio. I don't listen to the radio at all. I mean, rarely do I listen to anything. I remember some of the old tunes. Sometimes I'm doing research and the tune will pop up. Sometimes I'll see something pop up on YouTube. I think, oh wow, what a coincidence! I'm working on this and this song popped up, and then I'll play the song, and you realize that this theme is when those songs were written. A lot of them were written in the late '60s, early '70s. The theme had already began and was initiated even then, and even then the artists were trying to convey a message, or they were promoting the message to the hierarchy that was bringing this on. We're heading for another war. Okay, if they can't kill the population with pharmaceuticals like they've been trying, and part of this test was to see if how much of the population would actually fall for the bullshit, and I think they found out that a percentage will fall for it, a percentage will continue to believe it. They will be the easiest ones to take out. It's the other population that doesn't believe it. What are you going to do with them? Well, if propaganda doesn't work, then the only other alternative is war. That's how you make the changes you want. That's the final straw. That means it's as far as it's going to go. And the thing about that is, the people who are awake and know what's going on, this puts everybody in a precarious position. Either you fight and get wiped out, or you don't fight and they bring in the system. This is where we're caught. We're caught between a hard place and a rock. We're caught between, if we do nothing, they bring in the system. If we do something, we fight to keep it out. Then we die. And if the bulk of us who are awake get wiped out, and all that's left is a millennial group or a group of people that are half-wits, the only thing they got in their brain is a pea that rolls around their head if they bend over. If that's all that's left, they've conquered. So, like I said, we're in a precarious position, and the only thing that I really see, that I see anyway, I mean, there might be other things going on, but as long as those of us who are awake can stay together and work together, it makes it very difficult to break apart something that's solid. And if everybody's got the same mindset that the government's just full of shit and the media's full of shit and the propagation is all bullshit, then you know what? That's half the battle. Standing on the truth. Now they're going to try to make everybody look, anybody that doesn't capitulate or agree with their stand, they're going to make them look like they're nut jobs, nut cases, or they're racist, or they're ethnicists, or they're biased, they're speaking hate speech, the usual propaganda that you hear all the time. You can't say this because you offend this person. You can't say that because censorship. We've even allowed censorship. Can you imagine that? Censorship. When I grew up in the neighborhood I grew up, everybody called everybody everything you could imagine. Nobody cared. And some of the terms, by today's standards, I couldn't say them today. I might get fined. But my point is, this is a form again of another piece of the pie. To to shut you down. The reason why they got those muzzles on, they're trying to sell you so that, the cabal, the elites, the people that have invested money in these things are now going to make money. But the muzzle there is to keep you quiet. You're not going to talk. You're not going to express yourself. You're not going to raise your voices and say, no. Shove this mask up your backside, sideways, and give it a crank while you're at it. This is what we should be saying. I say it all the time. Well, I have a way with words sometimes. Like I said, you get to a point where you got to get to that point where how much are you willing to surrender? Do you want to be a machine? Do you want to be a robot? Do you want to have a chip stuck up your arse sideways? Do you want to be told what to do? You want to be told when you're going to live, when you're going to die? You want to be told when to wake up, when to sleep? You want to be, programmed, working like an automaton? Is this what you want? Some people say, well, better that than dead. Really? Can't see much difference between the two, to be honest with you. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I don't see that as being living. Could be wrong, but I don't see that as life. I mean, you want to be a puppet, you want to have a tether tied to you, so when they pull the string, your arm pops. You pull the other string, your leg pops. Pull another string, they got your leg wrapped around your body in one way and your arm around the body the other way. That's if you call that living. We don't have easy choices. There's no fence. People used to say, I remember years ago, oh, we're just sitting the fence. We're playing the middle. We're going to play the middle. The middle's gone. The middle's gone. Now what are you going to do? Anyway, I wanted to present this part of the show tonight regarding to the piece of the pie. This was not an easy show to even talk about, to be honest with you, but I did try to offer you hope. And I'm trying to get you to think in these terms too. Okay, we were talking about food. How about electricity? We've all gotten accustomed to electricity, haven't we? Haven't we? I like a hot bath. I like getting into a tub after a hot, day. My muscles are sore. My body's telling me I'm starting to mature more. Polite way of saying getting more ancient by the day. I have come to enjoy certain luxuries. Now, having lights on with electricity, I've gotten used to that too. Now, how would we make electricity? Did you know a car alternator can power a house? If you have a couple of them running as a generator, they could power a house. Do you know that? You can run them off of batteries. You can even charge the batteries. These are things that we need to start thinking about doing. Start doing your due diligence and start thinking in terms of, hey, I've gotten used to having hydro. I've gotten used to having a warm bath. I've gotten used to having heat running into my house. What if the electrical grid went down? Okay, now I have electricity where now I can run a distiller, or I can filter water that's coming out of a sink, if it's even coming out of a sink. I can run a condenser of some kind that can condensate the water in the air and turn it into a liquid. See what I'm saying? You got to start thinking. We got 10 years, okay? 10 years. So I would suggest that you would wisely use your time, because that's going to come pretty quick. And you're going to see them, again, create stalling tactics. Stalling tactics. And these stalling tactics are designed to keep people immovable or restricted. Now you want to go to a park, they got a little circle for you to stand in so that you can social distancing. I wonder how long that bullshit's going to last, seriously. Well, they're going to have police patrolling the area. Really? Okay, every time I've seen police patrolling areas and there's a mob out there, they're not going to say too much. And in my humble opinion, this is my humble opinion, I think the police should do what the police in Michigan did in Flint. they should work with the people. Take the people's side. This is bad legislation. Swearing an oath to protect the law or protect the citizenry is one thing, and to protect something illegal, you're wearing a badge, really? Are you complying with your duty and honor, or are you complying with being a robot? I don't know. You'd have to decide that one. But the police in Michigan decided that they were going to side with the people, not with the governor. And I think that was a good call. Because you know what happened then? The town stayed at peace. No unrest. No police officer needs to have to put his life on the line needlessly fighting their own people. That makes absolutely no sense. It would be better if the police you live in these communities with these people. It would make sense that you'd work with them. After all, they are paying your wage. So, technically speaking, the people are the ones you should be listening to, not the ones that aren't paying you. We got this allegiance with government wrong on so many levels. But again, that's just my thought on this, what I think. I think it would be a lot better for everybody involved if the police and the people work together rather than having this antagonistic power, a show of power. This is what Alberta is trying to push in Alberta. Show that who's got the most power, the people or the government. Seriously, the police, the Mounties and the police in Alberta are on the wrong side if they side with these illegal laws that are being passed by a group of men who are running the province illegally. This is so wrong on so many levels. Same thing in Ontario, Quebec, Newfoundland, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Saskatchewan, BC, Manitoba. I think I got everybody. PEI, I haven't heard anything from PEI. But I mean, if these laws are being done across the board, 3 territories we have, something is really wrong there. Something is really wrong. So like I said, I think the police or the law enforcement needs to be with the people on this one. This is just my thinking. You know, who's paying the wage and who are you really supposed to protect? And is this doing your job? Alrighty, I'm going to call it here. On the site, you're going to see a bunch of people there. Three Hearts Church. You've got Yanni, you got Brian, myself. Again, if you can help any of them in any way financially, do so. If you can't, again, there's no arm bending here. Share the information you're getting. If you're getting any benefit out of this thing, share the link, share the site. Share with people about the pod, so that everybody can have a chance to hear what's going on and get. Like I said, a 10-year time frame. Look, the links are down below. One is a fabrication. Like a what if type of scenario. And the next one was somebody who did a talk in a TED Talk. Now, whether or not you believe her or not, I have a tendency to believe her because I saw the same statistic that by 2030, we're going to have a food crunch. Right now in Ontario, we've already seen milk shortages. I've seen one milk shortage in a major food supply. And out in the outskirts of Essex, and I'm in Essex County, out in the outskirts, they are now regulating what people can buy in those stores because we're not getting the supply that we were warned that we're going to have a lot of shortages. By fall, it's going to be really short. So this is why I'm trying to get you now to get prepared, in any way you can. Even if you buy canned tuna, that'll last you a long time, but make sure it's in water, salt, and fish. That's easy enough to open up, throw in a pan, even potato chips. Now, the potato chips is a survival food. Potato chips should be cooked in sunflower oil, and all should have in this potato and salt. Now, if you take a potato chip, and you crumble it up in with your tuna, and you cook that in a light oil of some kind, butter, coconut oil, whatever, and you can buy coconut oil in jars and cans and store that. Okay, what will happen is you got a meal. You can heat up the can, and you got a nice warm can of tuna with your potato. There's your meal. Simple little meal. So again, it's all about getting ready. And if you can start thinking in terms of what to get, even not, okay, so you don't have a lot of money. Every time you go shopping, just buy one extra item, whether it's a canned milk, corned beef, tuna, if you can buy a dehydrated potato, cheese, if you can buy culture, powdered milk, one package, just even if there's small amounts. Go into a store and you can buy whey protein. Again, make sure all it is just whey protein, whether it be an isolate or concentrate combination, sweetened with xylitol, sweetened with stevia, sunflower lecithin, not soy, and no other shit in there. Okay, that will last you a long time. And all you need to do is add a little fat to that, and guess what? You got a high-powered protein drink. Now you can drink that protein and have a potato, and you got everything you need. Fat is going to be key here. So even eating animal fats go a long way. Okay, egg, cream, cheese, these are animal fats. You need that fat. Alrighty, again, this is all about getting prepared. So again, help yourselves any way you can. Give what you can, and then if you've got extra and somebody else has got extra, start trading and bartering now. Get prepared. Get prepared. Water is going to be the biggest problem most people are going to have to deal with. You can stockpile water to a degree, but if you can they used to have these air condensers that, again, used to extract water from the air or create a condensation unit by having a unit that is dark on the one side, where the heat would heat it and it's cooler on the inside, which will create a condensation effect where you can collect the water vapor. This is something that you might want to, again, consider doing. But the hotter the area you live in, the better. If you live by rivers and streams, again, you're going to have to make sure you distill that water in order before you drink it. You don't know what's in it. You don't know what chemicals are in there. You don't know what pesticides are in there, or industrial waste or factory waste that might be in there, or other, synthetic life forms that might be crawling into the water supply. So this is something, again, you have to consider. Alrighty, I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for tuning in. We are still here. We ain't gone anywhere yet. So while we're here, let's make the most of it. All right, till the next show. Take care.